Elon Musk delivered a bombshell report at Trump's cabinet meeting today, and the federal bureaucracy is absolutely panicking. After just weeks of the DOGE team examining government waste, they've uncovered what many of us have suspected for years. Billions of dollars funneled into agencies where workers can't even explain what they do. Musk, humble as ever, referred to himself as merely tech support as he outlined how DOGE is tackling the bloated federal deficit. And the strategy is simple yet brilliant. They sent letters to federal employees asking one basic question: what have you done lately? The response? Silence from hundreds of thousands of government workers who suddenly can't justify their existence on the taxpayer dime. And the science of aging has been revolutionized by a discovery directly related to government efficiency. Just as Elon's team is cutting waste in Washington, this breakthrough helps eliminate waste in your skin cells. A groundbreaking 2024 study has confirmed that daily collagen supplementation significantly reduces wrinkles and improves skin firmness. Unlike government bureaucracy, this science-backed formula delivers real results. Now, I've personally experienced how this premium multi-collagen formula transforms skin. Look at my skin. My wife's always saying, your skin looks great. It helps you look younger while supporting joint health. Now, this science-backed solution is giving Americans back their youthful appearance, while Musk gives Americans back their tax dollars. So don't settle for inefficiency in your health regimen. Visit healthwithgary.com for exclusive 51% discount on this revolutionary anti-aging formula. It's linked down below. Okay, this is the big news. Trump just put the swamp on a leash. No more free money for these bureaucratic bloodsuckers. Buckle up, America. President Trump just dropped a nuke on Washington. Reckless spending, signing a massive executive order that will force accountability and eliminate waste. Here are the details that we have for you. Every single government payment, from contracts to grants, must now be justified in writing. If there's no reason for the spending, the payment gets blocked. Federal agencies have 30 days to review, negotiate, or cancel wasteful contracts and grants, especially those funneling money into foreign entities and universities. Government employees' travel expenses are locked down. No more taxpayer-funded luxury conferences unless there's a written justification. Everything gets posted publicly. A freeze on all government credit cards for the next 30 days, except for national security, law enforcement, and emergency response. Federal properties are now under review. Unused government buildings are gone. Agencies have 60 days to come up with a plan to offload wasteful real estate, and DOGE is taking control. The Department of Government Efficiency, Trump's bold new agency, will oversee every dollar spent and ensure bureaucrats can't sneak through wasteful spending anymore. So here's why this matters. This is the most aggressive crackdown on government waste in U.S. history. Every dollar spent must now be accounted for. No more backroom deals, no more shady payments, no more hidden agendas. The swamp is being drained in real time. Agencies are being forced to justify their existence. Washington is shaking. The corrupt bureaucrats are sweating bullets because for the first time in decades, the free ride is over. This is America First in action. So make sure you follow us on X and on YouTube for more coverage, because we are an officially credentialed member of the White House Press Corps, bringing you exclusive breakdowns as it all unfolds. Here is, look at this. Look at this. This is the executive order. I had to screenshot this because it was so long, but that is what was just released. Yes, and then we have this. This just came in. Trump administration orders federal agencies to prepare massive downsizing by March 13th. This is from Mario Nafal. The White House is directing agency heads to prepare for large-scale reductions in force and submit reorganization plans by mid-March, cutting unnecessary roles and wasteful programs. The memo states that the federal government is bloated, inefficient, and failing the American people, with tax dollars funding unproductive programs instead of serving citizens. Key sectors like law enforcement, border security, and national defense will be exempt from cuts, ensuring critical functions remain intact. So don't believe what the fake news is going to try and tell you. Oh, you're not going to get Social Security. Your Medicare is going to get cut. The police aren't going to get funded. You're not going to be safe. These are all lies from the mainstream media. We're setting it straight right here. Now, they say here the downsizing is part of Trump's DOGE plan, aiming for maximum reduction in non-essential roles, office consolidations, and the elimination of bureaucratic waste. The first phase of the reorganization plan is due March 13th, with full implementation expected by September 30th of 2025. Wow. The swamp is being drained permanently. The source here is Fox News. Here is the actual memo from the Office of Management and Budget. Check it out, folks. It is awesome. And then this was all, he was quote tweeting himself. Judge greenlighting Trump's federal worker buyout, 77,000 take the deal. That was back on Valentine's Day. So it is continuing. The swamp is draining itself. Here we have, this is President Trump talking about DOGE.
Summary of what's happened. And this, DOGE is
this is in today's cabinet meeting. Check it out.
Very important. And Elon is here to give you a summary of what's happening, some of the things they found, some of the horrible things they found, some of the theft and fraud, and we call it waste and abuse, but a lot of fraud, and probably some fraud that we're not going to be able to prove is fraud, but when you hear the names and the places where this money's going, it's a disgrace. But we've requested that a lot of people, we want to make sure that the people are working. So letters were sent out, and I think everyone at this table is very much behind it. And if they aren't, I'd want them to speak up, but they're very much behind it. Letters were sent out to people just to find out if the people exist. Do they work? Who do they work for? Where are they? You know, where have they been working? Have they been working for other companies or other entities at all? Being paid by the government, so they have two jobs, but they're supposed to have one. And the letter asks some simple questions like, what have you done lately? And if they can answer that, because I can tell you everything I've done for the last long period of time, a lot more than a week. And in many cases, we haven't gotten responses. Usually that means that maybe that person doesn't exist, or that person doesn't want to say they're working for another company while being paid by the United States government. So there's a lot of interesting things. It's very unique, but we have a very unique situation because we have a lot of people that were scamming our country. We have a lot of dishonest people. We have a lot of people that took advantage of a lot of different situations, and we're not going to let that happen.
People in the federal bureaucracy taking advantage of you, living on the taxpayer dime, funding outrageous plans. Here we have Elon Musk delivering the remarks at the cabinet meeting today. Let's listen.
I will. So I'm going to ask if it's possible to have Elon get up first and talk about DOGE, because it seems to be of great interest to everyone. I will say that there is a large group of people in this country that have such admiration for what we're doing. I got elected with a tremendous vote, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote, winning the counties by thousands of counties. I think it was 2,800 to 500, 2,800 counties to 500 counties. Think of that. And so we have a mandate to do this, and this is part of the reason I got elected. I got elected based on taxes and based on many things in the border, but also based on balancing budgets and getting our country back into shape, and this is a big part of it. So Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" And you know, he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Okay,
thank you, Elon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here, because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the DOGE team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the Defense Department's spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing, it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I'm gonna like stack them up, you know. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. And I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, you know, knock on my wooden head, there's got a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, DOGE is a support function for the president and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say, like, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, and I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
So I'm going to...
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's cut it all. Here we have more from President Trump talking about cutting down the size of government.
We're bloated. We're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy. We have a lot of people that aren't doing their job. We have a lot of people that don't exist. We're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of...
Cut it down. Cut it all down. Oh, here we have this. President Trump on the millions of people who haven't responded.
I'd like to add that those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. You know, I wouldn't say that we're thrilled about it. You know, they haven't responded. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just got here. This group just got here. But those people are on the bubble, as they say. You know, maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like nobody's ever spent money before, wasted money. The Green New Scam, all of the different things they spent money on. And you've seen that. You've seen that with some of the things that I read in speeches. I read them and people can't believe when I read them. 20 million here, 30 million here for, you know, a little educational course on something, circumcision, right? Circumcision. $20 million to inform the people of such and such a country on other things and other things other than that. So, yeah, those people are, right now we're trying to find out who those people are that haven't responded. Now, there'll be some agencies, like Marco has people within state that are right now doing very classified, very confidential work, and we understand that, and we've talked, and, you know, we're being a little more surgical. And Marco's doing a lot of things himself. He's, and some of the secretaries, we're going to be going to them. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to ask them to do their own DOGE. In other words, they'll look in their group, and I spoke with Lee Zeldin, and he thinks he's going to be cutting 65% or so of the people from environmental. And we're going to speed up the process, too, at the same time. You had a lot of people that weren't doing their job. They were just obstructionists, and a lot of people that didn't exist, I guess, Lee, too. You found a lot of empty spots that the people weren't there. They didn't exist.
They didn't exist. Oh, man. Here we have, this is from the press secretary's remarks earlier today about Elon working with the cabinet secretaries.
And many of these Well, Elon is working with the cabinet secretaries and their staff every single day to identify waste and fraud and abuse at these respective agencies. And, you've seen many of these cabinet secretaries, all of the cabinet secretaries, take the advice and direction of DOGE. So all of these cabinet secretaries are working alongside DOGE. They'll be providing updates on their efforts, and they'll also be providing updates on what they're doing at their agencies in terms of policy and implementing the promises that the president made on the campaign trail.
And here are some of the DOGE accomplishments. Terminated 89 contracts worth $881 billion at the Department of Education, uncovered $182 million worth of HHS contracts meant entirely for administrative expenses. My goodness. In one day, $110 million was saved by canceling 78 contracts across DEI, non-performing, media, and consulting categories. Canceled 104 DEI-related contracts, saving the government more than $1 billion. The Social Security Administration is saving more than $1 million by terminating its contract for the Gender X initiative marker that pulled references to gender ideology. Goodness gracious. And here we have this from the Data Republican. What's going on here?
So we've heard about some of the tech bro whiz kids who are on Musk's staff, but one of the most zealous and influential crusaders for government efficiency is not on staff, nor is she a bro. She doesn't even have a profane internet handle. Instead, she goes by the vanilla-flavored moniker Data Republican. And she's gotten the attention of Elon Musk by discovering what she believes to be $100 billion in waste and fraud. How, you ask? Well, she says by using her own AI models to sift through huge amounts of data. Until now, Data Republican has chosen to remain anonymous, but since she's dedicated herself to the cause of government transparency, tonight she's decided to be a little more transparent about herself. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton just sat down with her for an exclusive interview and joins us now. Hey, Brian, so who is this woman?
Yeah, hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, she's gained quite a bit of popularity on social media, even with Elon Musk. The data scientist is very secretive about her real name being out there and her security, but she agreed to meet me at an undisclosed location. She is deaf, and we communicated through an interpreter. Big picture, with all the databases you're looking at and taxpayer money, how much do you think is being wasted or stolen?
If I had to guess, I would say it's over 100 billion. But what's more important is what they're doing with that money.
The mythical X account Data Republican, shared over and over again by Elon Musk himself, is a real person, a former programmer, now full-time calling out government waste, like exposing USAID. How did you get the attention of Elon Musk?
Honestly, I don't know. You'll have to ask him, but I'm grateful. One day, you just, I tweeted what everybody should, I just tweeted what I found, and then he tweeted everyone should follow the Data Republican. My jaw dropped to the floor, and I thought, what, is this real life? But I guess tech people find tech people. I want to be clear, I don't communicate directly with Elon. He found me and supports my work. But I have communicated with some people that are involved with DOGE just on the side. And I don't want to say much more about that, but I have a working relationship.
She goes by Data and uses AI tools to search public databases for waste and fraud. She's been to D.C. to meet with Elon Musk's DOGE team and publishes all her findings on X and her website. Charity funding, federal grants, non-governmental organizations funded by taxpayers. It's all there. What do you say to people who think that this data, these databases, these numbers have been out there for a long time, that they've been public for a long time, and that it's sort of like a publicity stunt that they're getting all this attention now?
That's just an ignorant assumption. Data does not equal transparency. I am a database expert, a database scientist. I am a kernel engineer, and the numbers do not lie. What I did was I added the index to the book so that people can actually find the awards, what they're looking for. And you have to understand, without AI, this would not be possible because the book is so large, nobody can sit down and read the entire thing.
Her next
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Here we have more Data Republican. You got to follow her on X. Amazing follow. Here we have CNN exploding when Scott Jennings asked two Democrat panelists how many of Joe Biden's staffers who actually ran the country were elected by voters.
Believe something like this because
I'm sorry, can I ask a question? Did Joe Biden have staff at the White House? And how many of those staff members were elected?
Well, but Scott, Elon
zero.
Musk
The answer is zero. Every president appoints people to do things for them. To call him unelected is like the most naive and ridiculous talking point I've ever heard.
Scott, I can't believe you would believe something like this, because if this was Joe Biden allowing for a billionaire,
allowing people who weren't elected to run the country for the last 4 years, yeah, I would believe that actually.
Throwing another coup like January 6th.
I would believe it if Joe Biden had unelected people running the government for the last year, maybe the last 4 years. Yeah, I believe every word of it.
You wouldn't be up in arms, Scott.
I was up in arms about it.
I think there's a difference if it was George Soros. I think the example is not, obviously everyone has unelected people in that they appoint. The difference is if it was George Soros.
George Soros does have influence over Democrats. He collects your people like Pokemon cards.
Hold on, everybody hold on.
Like Pokemon cards. The Data Republican is on fire. Here we have more from the press secretary earlier today.
Administrator. Exactly did Amy Gleason start her job as DOGE administrator?
So Amy Gleason has been the DOGE administrator for quite some time, I believe several weeks, maybe a month. I'm not actually sure of the specific timeline. She's a career official. She's doing her job as the administrator of this organization. I know everybody's very interested in her name and who she is and what she does. There's a lot of people who work for the federal government. They're just trying to do their jobs, and, you know, that's what she's doing.
DOGE staffers told us yesterday that they found out about her being the administrator yesterday. Why is that?
You have to ask them. They're clearly unaware. I don't know.
Did you announce her position to the rest of the DOGE staff?
Everybody knew, and we said who she was to all of you because you are hounds in the media who are so obsessed with this for some reason. So in the effort of transparency, we told you who that person is. There are so many bigger things in the world than who the DOGE administrator is, but for some reason, everybody in the press corps is so obsessed with this that you were incessantly asking. So we thought, okay, we will be transparent. So now you know who it is. Any further questions?
Exactly did Amy.
Yeah, they want to know who she is so they can tear her apart. Here we have 9 hours ago. This was posted by the DOGE subcommittee. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's opening statement. Let's check it out.
Good morning. I want to welcome everyone today to today's DOGE subcommittee hearing on U.S. foreign aid. This hearing comes at an important time, a time where all of us are witnessing billions of dollars in taxpayer waste, fraud, and abuse being exposed across every agency of our federal government. It comes at a time where oversight of U.S. foreign aid has uncovered billions of dollars that have been weaponized in furtherance of globalist far-left ideologies. The American people want change. The American people voted for change. The American people have spoken that they no longer wish to be enslaved by the bureaucracy's agenda of undermining U.S. interest abroad. In 2023 alone, Americans privately donated over $557 billion of their own money. Corporations donated over $37 billion. Foundations donated over $103 billion. That is incredible of the American people. In 2023, nearly 76 million Americans, almost 30% of Americans, formally volunteered through an organization. Volunteered. The government did not make them do that. They did this on their own. Donating and volunteering time is what supports schools and shelters, hospitals and hotlines, food banks, and more across only our country, not only our country, but across the world. Ask anyone in Western North Carolina. Whether it be individuals, churches, or businesses, the American people are the most generous people in the entire world, and I'm so proud of that. They should be the ones who decide where their money goes. They can choose if they want to donate to a charity, a school, a church, or a nonprofit. They can choose if they want to privately donate to a transgender salon in Mumbai. They can choose if they want to privately donate to the British Broadcasting Corporation. They can choose if they want to privately donate to the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth Alliance, or to electric vehicles in Vietnam, or to changing the national census in Bangladesh to be more gender inclusive. That is something they should be able to choose. That is something they should never be forced to do by our government. The Democrat-run USAID should not get to use our federal government, our U.S. taxpayer dollars, as their party piggy bank to push their radical agenda in countries that we have no business giving money to. 96% of all political contributions from USAID employees go to Democrat Party candidates or PACs. That's 96%. Not only is USAID giving $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland, or $50,000 for transgender opera in Colombia, or to entrench their left-wing ideology across the globe, USAID has been transformed into an America Last foreign aid slush fund to prop up extremist groups, implement censorship campaigns, and interfere in foreign elections to force regime change around the world. That is the dark truth about USAID. That is the story the American people deserve to know. Not only was USAID never designed to be what it has morphed into, but these things should never have been funded in the first place. In fiscal year 2023, USAID dispersed roughly $44 billion of aid across 160 countries and regions around the world. During the 4 years of the Biden administration, 181 countries received approximately $240 billion in U.S. development aid, with Ukraine being the top recipient. Other top recipients include Ethiopia, Jordan, Israel, and Somalia. So after hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars have been distributed throughout the world, has the world become safer? No. Has the world become more stable? No. Is the perception of the United States around the globe any better? No. But have some of the most anti-democratic principles like censorship and the canceling of elections been funded through USAID because of opposition to the ruling regimes? Yes. Has money through USAID been funneled to terrorists? Yes. Foreign aid from USAID to the UN, particularly the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East, is directly funding Hamas terrorists. Humanitarian relief intended for the Afghan people was diverted to the Taliban. Money intended to support democracy is being used as a slush fund for liberal propaganda supporting terrorist, gender ideology, diversity, equity, and inclusion, climate activism, censorship, and regime change. Do you think this is what the American people think of when they think of foreign aid? Absolutely not. Taxpayer funds have literally been used to undermine U.S. interest and counter American foreign policy goals under the guise of foreign aid. This is unacceptable, and the American people agree. Thankfully, President Trump has taken action to address these issues. The election of President Trump was a clear mandate by the American people that they will no longer tolerate this. He is putting an end to the foreign aid slush fund, ensuring the hard-working American taxpayers' dollars are supporting America First policies and taking care of our own people at home. And we will do the same.
Let's go. Marjorie Taylor Greene on fire. And if you ever had a question about the education system, here's Charlie Kirk proving it's crap.
To a fraction of how much revenue the DOGE administration is not saving, will not save enough money. Even if you were to fire every single government employee, they would not even be able to get to a fraction of how much revenue we need to get for taxes. That's not enough, and it's not helpful.
No, I mean, I have
when
these
you go,
placards.
Sorry. And when you go over those placards, you can flash them and say that, like,
I mean, it's $115 million
yes.
for equity assessment programs. That's a lot of money.
No, it does not. And with regards, compared
This
to
is
how
not
much,
a lot of money?
compared to how much we need for to run the country.
Hold on, this is a very important point you're making.
We're talking about scale here. About $2.6 trillion of revenue comes from our income taxes. If you're going to if you're going to make these cuts, you need to meaningfully account for them.
This is a false argument. I'm glad you're making it, which is that so then we shouldn't cut it because it's not that big of a deal.
No, that's not what I mean.
So should we cut this? $115 million for equity assessment of existing program policies.
The point is that if we're going
I'm going to make the point, but do you think this should be cut?
It depends. You need to make the argument that it's actually good. You can't just flash the dollar.
No, I'm going to flash
and
it.
then say
equity assessments of existing program policies, $115 million.
Yes, you have to justify that this program is helpful or not. You have to justify the existence of the program.
Yes, it should not exist.
Why? Why does it not exist?
Well,
Why
first of all, the president signed an executive order saying no more DEI.
Okay.
Equity assessment should have no place in the U.S. government because
Why?
equity is not constitutional. It's not in the U.S. Constitution. It's not an American value.
Why?
It's about redistribution. And $115 million is a grotesque amount of money to spend on it. So you should get rid of it to save taxpayer money. Now,
it's not
to your
saving
point,
taxpayer money.
It's $115 million to get rid of this. Now, it's also $144 million here of empty buildings. How about empty buildings?
Again, you can't just say empty building. You have to go over a detailed.
No, we did. That's why there's 97 of them. They reviewed the leases.
Yes.
They're vacated because of COVID. That's $144 million. So right here, I have $330 million. We're going to keep going, right?
Yeah, you can keep doing that.
No,
but you have to actually just justify why the policies are helpful or not.
This is what's interesting.
You can say how much they cost.
Hold on a second.
If they do something useful for the government, then their prices make sense.
They're empty buildings. What use is happening for them other than landlords getting rich for nothing? The point is this. You think the government is innocent until proven guilty. I think the government, after what we've learned, is guilty until proven innocent. They have to justify why this money is being spent in the first place.
Wait a minute. That's how the law works. Innocent until proven guilty. You have to prove that
that's not how taxpayer money works, though. It's that if we find waste, you're going to have to over-justify why this exists in the first place.
Yeah,
secondly,
but you just fire them. You just get rid of the program automatically before you've done the work.
Let me go back to more thing. This is an argument they're making. Oh, it's not that much money. Even if you only save $100 in taxpayer money, that is a moral fight worth having. That attitude is why we're $35 trillion in debt. Secondly, which is very important, if you annualize DOGE's savings, you know how much they're on pace to save this year? $1 trillion. $1 trillion, which would then get us on path for a balanced budget. They're on pace because you say, oh, it's only $1 billion here. They've been in for 6 weeks. They've already saved $100 billion. By December, they'll be at $1 trillion. Our deficit is $1.6 trillion. We're going to lower our deficit in such an increasingly important way, and you're going to learn that you actually don't need these government agencies to run a country, that these people are unnecessary, it's bloated, these bureaucrats don't do anything all day long, and we need to right-size it because we're a nation in debt. We know we're $35 trillion in debt?
Yes.
In debt?
Yes.
And the only way we're going to get out of it is if we're honest, be like, how about no more empty buildings? No more $115 for equity assessment program. Biodiversity in Nepal, $19 million?
Again, those can be important. You have to, those could be helpful.
Okay, so how could biodiversity in Nepal for $19 million? We spent $20 million for a new Sesame Street in Iraq. It's true. You guys can look it up. Yes. $20 million for New Sesame Street in Iraq. And because no one has ever had the courage to look through the books and look and examine the expenditures.
But that's not what's happening.
No, it has happened. No, Biden, Obama, they never looked through any of the federal expenditures. And we got to $35 trillion in debt. This is the first time in my lifetime we have an administration going after the waste, going after the size of government to balance the budget so that you guys don't live as indentured servants and Russian serfs for the rest of your life.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, that was solid gold. Oh, my goodness. Here we have more. Roger Marshall, Doge designer, tweeting this, reflecting on what Elon Musk did with Twitter.
He changed the name of it, and now today it's worth twice.
It's worth twice as much. And here we have more from Scott Jennings. What is this?
And So
it's hard to do.
I have an idea for them. Why don't they cut the $15 billion that Musk has received in federal funding? I mean, if
what would
he
you like
cares,
to cut specifically?
I would.
Him rescuing our astronauts, giving internet to Ukraine?
No, wait. No. He's not rescuing our.
Hold on. So Elon's programs are fine, but everybody else's programs.
No, she said she wants to cut him out of the government. He does a lot of important things. I'm just asking what you want to get rid of. We need a space program, I think.
We're not talking about a space program. I'm talking about how Elon Musk, the wealthiest person in the world, is in the federal government making decisions about grants and about funding whenever he benefits from those things. He has people in a number of government agencies, yes, it is true, including the FBI, in order to find ways to gain grants and to make more money. And are you okay with that? Is that something you're okay with? You're for cutting. You're for cutting, but you're not for cutting Musk.
I think you're full of it. B.
I'm not full of it. I have sources at the FBI.
He provides all sorts.
Oh boy, it is going to continue, folks. The party is just getting started. Wow. Let's see what Elon Musk. Let's go to the pulse check. I think here. Yeah.
Mr. Musk. Go ahead, please. Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. Are there about half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week? Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired, and when can people expect to see results of that?
Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was best interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. Anyone can accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual, so we're literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone in the public sector.
The government pulse check is happening in real time. So the DOGE revolution isn't just about cutting costs. It's about fundamentally reimagining how government operates. When Trump said we are cutting down the size of government, we have to, we're bloated, we're sloppy, he wasn't exaggerating. For decades, government has been the only organization that rewards failure with bigger budgets. This is changing in real time. And the most telling moment came when Trump said, those millions of people who haven't responded with their 5 bullet points, they're on the bubble. Maybe they don't exist. Think about that. We could be paying salaries to people who literally don't exist. After years of runaway spending, one question remains. How many federal agencies could be eliminated entirely without the average American noticing any difference in their daily lives? Drop a comment below. And get your next news merch in the merch shop. It is linked down below. Grab a hat, grab a shirt, and show the world where you stand with real news.